May the radiance of 1,000 hills illumine thy soul, O beloved children of the Most High God. I am come this night to bring to you sweet memories of your own eternal presence, your being, the heart of your identity, and the glory of the higher octaves of light. My retreat, as you know, is located in the desert regions in Arizona, and is beauteous and wondrous to behold, as are all etheric retreats. But I would like to call to your attention, beloved ones, the glory of elemental life even in the desert regions of the earth. The elementals are preparing there the matrix of a civilization yet unborn upon the planetary body, and there is a reason why these so-called waste places of the earth are kept as they are, relatively free from human effluvia and from the dust of the road of man's current expressions of life. In those places, the beauteous communion of the elementals goes on. Some of you are familiar with the flurries of dust rising in circular form, sweeping across the desert area. You are aware, but you may not know the cause behind it all. For there is accompanying that in many cases the release of elemental life's blessing upon the earth itself, whirling in a wondrous motion to convey the blessings of life to the planetary body. I have come to you this night bearing a charge of light and the radiance of light from on high, to bring to you a greater awareness of the Christ presence of light within your being. I knew Jesus so very, very well, and your hearts that are attuned to his thoughts quite frequently will appreciate the great love which I bore for him then and bear for him eternally. Some of you may have contemplated the reason why I was so close to him. I would like to tell you a little about it this evening. My closeness to him was because that I saw within him the great God flame of life, and I desired to feel its warmth flooding through my own being. I often lay my head upon his shoulder and very close to his heart, that it might come to pass that this flame from his heart might flow through my being. Some of you will recall the words of the Master who touched me, for he was always aware of the release of his energy when it flowed forth to perform healings and other services to life. He did not utter this when I rested my head upon his shoulders, although he was always aware of the great release of energy which flowed from him into my world. I am eternally grateful, with a heart full of immortal gratitude, for this wonder of his love which so mightily assisted me to my own ascension in the light. Proximity to holy men is invaluable, for it enables mankind to assimilate some of their spiritual momentum, and it is so much better, beloved ones, to sit in imitation of a Christ than to sit in imitation of a human ego filled with all its frustrations and doubts and fears. The world today is languishing in a never-never land, a spirit of unreality which was not present in the beloved Christ. I would like to call your attention to one wondrous thought. I never knew anyone who possessed so much a sense of reality. His sense was so crystal clear that he conveyed to men the knowledge of the Father. You must understand, beloved ones, that you are ever so frequently absent from God and present with the world. And the reason why this is so is because the world seems real to you and God seems unreal. The Master Jesus conveyed to me the great consciousness of immortal love, and by proximity to his heart, I assimilated an awareness of how that God was also near to me and dear to me, and I sensed God's love as flowing to me from my own divine identity. It was no longer a thing apart, an unknown condition. There no longer abode in my thoughts doubt or fear. In Jesus, I became aware of the God within myself. I convey to you this night my thoughts concerning those priceless moments we spent together, moments on the Sea of Galilee, moments when I would gaze at him as he walked ahead of me and see his blessed feet pressing themselves naked into the sand. You today who wear shoes are perhaps not aware that the Master frequently did not. There were times that he wore a different type of sandal than is worn today, but he sometimes preferred to feel the proximity, the currents of life that flowed from the heart of Mother Earth. But as I gazed at him walking ahead of me and witnessed the wind as it moved his precious robe, fluttering around him as though it would reach out to engulf the world, my thoughts were exalted toward the clouds, so white and fleecy, toward the blue sky, and away from the thoughts of Caesar. My heart turned then from the tyranny of the Roman legions, from the political scene, and from all of the oppressions of taxation which we bore, and I lifted my consciousness as though by the hem of his precious garment into the heavens to gaze at reality. how men today deprive themselves of hope by harboring doubts of God's presence is a great pity for themselves. Discipleship, to be devoted to God, to desire to be His disciple, is to rise above the idea of being apprenticed unto men. For today there are wondrous teachers upon this planetary body of the arts and sciences, and men do not hesitate to apprentice themselves unto thee. Of old, some of you in the musical realm have been pupils of Palestrina. Do you realize then, precious ones, what it means to be apprenticed unto God, to emulate Him, to express His quality? This discipleship is no ordinary event. When it comes to you individually, you must know it, because you have opened your heart to it. You have wished for it. You have longed for it. It is the fulfillment of a hidden hunger of your being. To be saturated with human love, this is understandable, but how fickle is human love, beloved ones, whereas the love of God is so constant. In the great divine constancy of the great lover of humanity and of life, God expresses through the great Christ presence of every man. How delighted we were to learn from beloved Jesus and to hear from His own lips the mystery of the Christ presence when He taught us that not only did He possess that presence, but that we did. Our joy knew no bounds, for we realized that God had no favored son. You know, beloved ones, it was my mother's wish that I be seated on the right hand of God. And in those days, as in the present day, position and place seems to mean so much to mankind, and yet so few are willing to drink of the cup of life that such a position would require. I absorbed from beloved Jesus, in addition to a feeling of love, the temper of a steel blade dedicated to truth. My being became wholly devoted not only to the love of Christ, but to the need to defend this radiance against those who would soil it, not with outer weapons of warfare, but with inner spiritual weapons of light's protection. I perceive the need to hold my communion with God inviolate against all the inrush which was manifest in the darkening skies over Golgotha's hill. I was there. I beheld Him lifted up, and they gazed at Him as upon a thief. But they knew not that He came unto the night, that He might bring a light to all humanity those of us who were taught from his own precious lips were admonished so often to recognize that so long as we did not ascend into the fullness of that presence, we should serve in every way to bring about the kingdom of God into the hearts of men. And we were also told that after our ascension, we could, if we would, volunteer to serve this planetary body and the Christ spirit of the earth in bringing freedom to mankind from that humanly imposed bondage which, like a chain, holds the planetary body until that planetary body, occasionally galled as it were by the restraint imposed upon it by men, shakes itself free for a moment, and the very earth shakes and trembles, desiring to be free from the imposition of human discord. This too is divine love. It is love in action, longing to bring to mankind their freedom. I am so aware that many of you have desires that are centered in God, but there lingers in the back of your consciousness human desires, so understandable, but so completely unnecessary when you gaze upon the presence of God and his wondrous design for you. At that moment when you are able to cry as we did, I see, O God, beholding the purity of your own being, you will find a willingness within yourself to commit all of your desires into the keeping of God's hand. And then you will no longer be concerned about them, as to whether or not they shall manifest in your world. And then, blessed ones, just when you least expect it, the grace of God will manifest in you the priceless gifts of the Father, not only spiritual gifts, but even material needs and desires, because the Father knoweth your needs. And when your own thought of doubt and lack is removed, the doorway is open for the Father to give to you. This is why the Christ taught us to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these things should be added unto us. Beloved ones, I want so much tonight to draw you very close into my embrace, because I want to tell you that the doorway to all your good lies in the heart of your divine presence. You but frustrate yourself and deny yourself all good when you turn away and seek in the outer world of conditions, places and things for your freedom. For your freedom is always in the great flame of life that pulsates within you, that transforms you and has the power to transform you. The great reality of God is blazing, but regardless of how glaring it might seem to mankind's consciousness, the blind are unable to see the glory of God. The Christ came to take away the scales from men's eyes, that they might behold not the iniquities of men, but the perfection and purity of God. I want to speak of consciousness. I want to give you an awareness of your own consciousness. Your consciousness is God. He has given to you His own consciousness. It is a mighty river depicted in the revelations which I brought forth on Patmos. It is depicted as a great river flowing before the throne of God. The throne of God is your own true identity, and the great river that flows crystal clear before it is the great stream of consciousness, which is as much yours as it is mine. This consciousness which I have tonight of the immortal presence of life, gazing from the inner levels, is yours tonight without and within. Without because you are embodied here, but within because you are consecrated there to the great holy purpose which He holds in His own heart, the heart of your own mighty I am God presence, the heart of your Christ self, this beauteous reality, which more wondrous than a rose, more sweet than a lily or hyacinth, is the face of the living Christ, overlaid upon your own blessed features, upon your physical, mental, emotional, and etheric bodies. Your memory retains as much as my own, speaking at inner levels, the beauty of the Christ. For each of you have beheld Him before you ever drew a breath. You were not permitted, beloved ones, to draw a breath until you had gazed at inner levels upon the great loving face of your spiritual Christ matrix, the Son of God. The radiance of God was witnessed by each of you. And though you did not walk beside Galilee, and did not sit in the boat with Jesus, does not mean that you are to be denied the blessing of being a son of God. That which you, blessed ones, beheld at inner levels before you first drew mortal form, is the goal, the matrix, the pattern of love for you, the blueprint of life, the consecrated ideal, not the idol of human idolatry, which in the glorification of human concepts strips itself from its divine reality and takes unto itself the unreality of human consciousness, but the great supreme spiritual power of love. How shall I make you aware, O beloved children here and throughout the planetary body, of the real meaning of God's consciousness? It is life, it is light, and it is love. But it is your life, it is your light, and it is your love as much as mine. You possess the right in the eyes of God and in the great eye of God, the power of your own I am presence, to lay your head upon the shoulder of your own Christ presence tonight and every day of your life, and to draw forth from the great God flame which surrounds the force field of your being the power of that love. And today, when the storms of life and trials assail the fortress of your being, you are able to do as the Christ did. You may, if you choose, fall asleep, that is, in the outer, put the outer human self to sleep in the gentleness of God's arms, committing yourself before your eyes closed to his keeping, forgiving all who you feel may have wronged you, and consecrating yourself to his precious arms of love. Then, with the stilling of the human thoughts and feelings, the power of love can touch your being and consecrate you anew by the power of that great presence of life which declared, I am the first and the last. Know ye not, O beloved brethren, the meaning of that? I am the first man, the first immortal imaging of God, and the last, and all from first to last are perfect, even as the Father is perfect in heaven. It is an illusion, a dream of unreality, which men have partaken of, that has kept them from a state of awareness of their own spiritual reality. They must awaken from this dream, and they must witness the living reality of the Christ in this 20th century. For God today is the same as he was then, and so shall he ever be. It is your own stream of thought, precious ones, that must merge itself and dissolve itself, and all muddy concepts, all shadowed concepts, in the great stream of purity and light that is God, until the eternal sound of his loving voice is as dear to your hearts as your dearest beloved friend upon this planetary body. Oh, precious ones, how you long sometimes for a true friend. You have the truest friend in the Christ presence of your being. Beloved, Jesus confided to us ever so frequently how that he was the archetype for mankind at that particular time, to bring to them an awareness of their own spiritual potential. In the great unfolding drama which he lived was the story of all revealed. When he visited Dorcas, when he raised the widow's son at Nain, these are experiences that could have come to any of you, that may yet come to you. You need not be denied any good thing, for the quickening of your consciousness is a gift of God. Some of you have been taught in the past to look for the second coming of the Christ. The pure in heart shall see God. Behold, every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. For many men have crucified the Christ of their own being. But when they purify their consciousness by contacting the great crystal stream of purity, that is the consciousness of God, and permitting it entree into their worlds, mankind find their freedom. The great stream of light that flows into their hearts buoys them up and the purifying action of the waters removes the elements of the earth from their identity, exalting them by the power of the transmuting flames, and raises them into the air, caught up into the Christ consciousness, and so shall they forever be with the Lord Christ. The meaning of this ought to be so clear to the theologians of this day, and yet so skillfully has the doctrinal tenets of mankind been woven that it is more like a spider's web than an assistance or a shepherd's crook. I come then with a message of pure spiritual love to invoke within your hearts the awareness of God and of Christ, the awareness of all those dedicated to his purposes, and they are many. Jesus spoke to us concerning the many mansions of God, and he sometimes at night upon the hillsides of Judea would lift his right hand to the stars, and while he used different names and those familiar to your astronomers to describe these various stars and constellations, our hearts were stirred as he called them homes of light. He did not feel that they were empty, whirling nebulae of light, but he knew that they were intelligently peopled, and he knew that in the mansions of God were his friends. He told us much that I am not permitted to reveal in words to you, as much as I should like to do. But I am permitted to reveal to you that which is necessary for mankind to know now and for some time to come. But there is no limit on my love and the love of God. My love enfolds you all. My love enfolds the planetary body. My love enfolds the Christ. My love enfolds the light. May the light enfold you all in the crystal clear awareness that that blessing you call consciousness is a small portion of the crystal shining mind of God, fragmented into myriad pieces, that all might one day come together again before the throne of his presence. Yours and mine. Joy to the world. The Lord has come. Let earth receive him now. From our retreat in Arizona, I call to the elemental powers of light to sweep across the planetary body and convey the message of Christ's accomplishment to mankind. Let every fainting shepherd be revived. Those who would be bishops to the children of men, to guard them, to seek for that which is lost, to seek to save, to heal, to elevate, to ennoble, to assist the great divine hierarchy of light in fashioning objects of spiritual beauty out of lumps of clay, until the Christ be glorified in all, and they may say of you as I say of him, I knew him, I saw his glory, I witnessed his perfection. You come from one God, one pattern, one life, one light. What think ye then wrought the change now manifesting? What think ye then shall wrought the change that shall transform ye into that which he is? It is the self-same power that ascended me into the light from Patmos and sustains me in my immortal knowing of God's wondrous love, unfolding diorama after diorama of beauty before my eyes, and these no mirages upon the desert, but the celestial glory of eternal reality fashioned by the angelic hands, and more wondrous by far than these flowers gracing your altar, or than ever a face of man wore, even including our beloved John the Baptist, whose beauty of face and countenance was wondrous to behold. I tonight, from my retreat, ask you this: shall my message be but another voice crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of God, make straight his paths? Or shall it be a message of acceptance, which ye can accept and find room within the heart of your being for? The decision is made by your free will. I compel no man, but I speak of love, for from love I came, and to love's immortal bower I shall return. O Spirit of the Maha-Chohan, mighty power of light's comfort, breathe upon these souls, and let their physical forms glow with a sacred coal from the altars of heaven. Let the untransmuted ash of their own physical senses evaporate before the rising sun of their great God identity, until they too may be in the Spirit on this the Lord's day, to sense that heaven is real and is no myth. Elijah knew it, Daniel knew it, and faced the lions. You today shall not escape if you neglect this great salvation as near as the Christ presence of your being. He hath first loved you. Shall ye love him as he loved you? Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. the ages. I am come this night, and yet with the breaking of this dawn, I knew that I should speak to you here. For here are many who have long loved me and served to keep the holy commandments of God. The gracious breaking then of this day brought to me a certain happiness which I hope to share with you, that the mighty power of your own God self may seize all recalcitrant energies in your worlds and bring you into that spirit of completeness and cosmic harmony where you can obtain entree into our octave of purity and bliss. As I speak to you tonight, it is my God determination to bring to you an awareness that although there may be gaps and intervals in our communications, in the sense that some of you have not been afforded the opportunity of hearing from me for a long time, there has been no surcease of my love or my watchful care over your endeavors and over your worlds. I admonish you then to hold a sense of celestial gratitude within your blessed hearts for the causes of heaven that have been fulfilled by the ministrations of the angelic hosts in gentle responses to your calls and decrees. The hour is at hand when a greater spirit of cosmic unity than has previously existed shall sweep across the hearts of America and the world to bring into fulfillment some greater measure of those dreams which I have held for so long and which so filled the very fiber of my being when first I long ago uttered my words of admonishment to you through beloved Godfrey. I am come then this night to bless you and to sanctify within you that Holy Spirit of grace which has perpetually kept ablaze the flame of God within your blessed hearts. Beloved ones, there is never any need whatsoever to enter into a spirit of human competition, for it is the spirit of divine love that has made possible this moment which you now share with me. A spirit of divine love which floods forth and fills the heart of those who lead you in this place and have directed you with all of the love of their being for so many years. Express then your gratitude to God for the love in all hearts which creates a perfect spirit of divine grace and understanding, fulfilling the plan of heaven that like an evergreen tree speaks of the living Christ, with spires pointing heavenward and a beauteous odor of sanctity permeating the atmosphere with the eternal pine. Mankind recognize that they are pointing the way toward the ascension and the victory and the light for every man, as tall trees upon the hillsides, every life stream dedicated to our cause and the cause of immortal perfection within his own heart flame helps to renew the eternal covenant of the ages and to fulfill his own immortal destiny, while linking himself with the blessed angelic host and those who are sent forth from the heart of God to serve the holy cause. Blessed ones, remember the words of the living Christ. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, and let your hearts apply this blessed blessing of the Christ to all men who walk not as you do in the light. Chastise them never in your consciousness, for without the spirit of cosmic grace you would walk yet among them, a part of the mass consciousness and human effluvia. You are today then by divine grace standing
in that spiritual echelon which you presently inhabit by reason of the Spirit of grace for a great cosmic purpose, the installation of grace upon the planet Earth in the hearts of men, and the serving of the holy cause of freedom. I then urge upon you now to capture a vision of my own God mind and the mind of illumined avatars of the ages. Consider the mighty force field that exists around this building. Consider also the force field of love's protection that exists around your blessed hearts, and recognize the virtue in a multitude of such sanctuaries being dotted across the nation as though a giant salt shaker were sprinkling the savor of heaven over the earth, and dotting the countryside with holy sanctuaries, an abode for the weary traveler to rest and enter, to receive the cup of life, the cup of liquid light from on high, and to bask in the sunlight of divine purity. Your services are not in vain. Your decrees are not in vain. Your cosmic energies and the offerings which you bring, both in floral tribute and those flowers of virtue within your hearts, these all, ladies and gentlemen of divine grace, are not in vain. They are not a part of that mankind's vanity, but they are a part of the offering of service unto the great ones in the name of your own cosmic victory. Beloved ones of the light, the hour is coming when you will be able to have a greater and greater demonstration of the wonders of the Ascended Master's octave made manifest for you. Not only will this be made manifest in the physical octave, it will be made manifest so that all mankind will be able to recognize for themselves the wonders of God's love. But ere that time shall come, and ere the great law will permit this, you must understand that a great deal of groundwork and foundation work must be laid across the heart of America and the world, so that from among mankind we may free many souls who are yet pining for reunion with their own God identity. These blessed souls have a vibratory action which cries unto heaven for release from the chains of bondage which now presently enclose them round about. These are the potential ascended master youth of the world, those who are bound by the chains of schism and corruption, by confusion and anguish. Blessed be the name then of the living Christ and of every potential saint who would make invocations and calls for the freeing of these individuals, as much a part of God as ye are. I say unto you then, in this cosmic moment of light's perfection, when the glories of heaven and the angelic host draw very close to your blessed hearts, let the Spirit of God and the songs, the melodies of the angelic host sink down into your feeling world. Open up the great continents of the air, the great continents of love and light, and let the ministrations of the cosmic angels pour down the great ladder of light into your blessed souls. Drink in then, as the buttercup drinks in the light of the morning sun, the wondrous rays of purity and perfection which we are now pouring out upon you, to comfort you, to bless you, to bring you into complete God union with your own immortal I Am presence, and to tell you that our love shall never cease for the students of this great light. I tell you, beloved ones, the power of God's name, I Am, is and remains supreme as the power of that I Am presence, which is that I Am, and that ye also are. This then is the be-ness of all mankind, the great cosmic reality, which abides in the temple of men's hearts, and yet they know it not with their minds. Through opening up the great spirit of consciousness of Christ's victory within the hearts of men, greater understanding will flow from the Christ-illumined mind of mankind, until through the flame of cosmic illumination, men will come to understand one another to a greater degree, and in this understanding they will recognize that differences do not exist any more than they do in the floral kingdom, where the rose grows beside the daffodil, and where all the various fruits of the earth may manifest after their kind without a spirit of competition or pain, and they breathe their fragrance into space to hallow the atmosphere. So be it then with all men. In God's holy name I am. Let the spirit of freedom flow from the root of the tree of life, pass up the trunk, and flow into the flowers until the air is simply laden with the blessings of heavenly compassion, uniting men and destroying the lion nature of mankind, and bringing into manifestation the mighty power of the Lamb of God, who taketh away the sins, the stains, and the spots of the world by the power of Christ's virtue radiant within each life stream, and determined to bring all to their own Christ victory, the manifestation of the mighty power of light's perfection, which existed in great temples of light long ago, and that which was nourished and fed by mankind, and to the present hour exists in the etheric realm to serve the needs of mankind. Let these flames, then, which have been nourished, in due time be called forth into physical manifestation, until mankind are able to have the benefit of direct visual contact with these flames, even as you behold at this moment our living messenger speaking to you our words, and flashing them forth into your consciousness by the power of our love. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we have not forsaken the students of truth and the students who have long served our light, and we are still reaching out into the world of form to call to our counsel all those who love the light and ought to serve it, and we are extending our hand of service to those who sit yet in the shadow of pain and anguish and have not yet understood the meaning of life. These too are a part of life, and the caravan of life will be incomplete until every son of heaven has joined his energies with ours in the cause of the resurrection flame, to pursue the virtue of his own God identity and find a clean escape from all error and bondage. I tell you, I would wish to pay some great tribute tonight to your service on behalf of the destruction of entities within the people who are sitting in this sanctuary, for it is a most wondrous gift for an ascended being to be able to enter a place that is free from entities and relatively free from human emotions. I tell you, beloved ones, the service that mankind pay to the great light is always a service which brings about victory. And although some men may criticize the service that is performed by reason of a lack of understanding, it does not mean that we of the ascended octave do. For we praise the power of all virtue and beauty in its complete unfoldment, and recognize the needs for various individuals to exist in various activities and organizations throughout the world to promote the spirit of eternal felicity of the great white brotherhood, and encourage the hearts of the many who are the children of God. This morning, as the many proceeded to leave their homes and enter their automobiles and modes of transportation in order to enter houses of worship, do you think, beloved ones, that the angelic host and the ascended masters were absent from all such services? I tell you, nay. For inasmuch as the great law permits us, we take advantage of that great law and try to minister to the needs of all mankind. but oh, how we consider the special activity of those individuals who by their decrees call forth that energy which the world needs and which we require by reason of the great law in order to release the sanctimonious and pure power of the Holy Spirit in living manifestation to change and transmute lives until the glowing coals on the altar of heaven radiate their own cosmic purity, and the dead ash of unregenerate emotion and human wickedness is purified by the great angelic host and the holy cause of freedom, I say now divine freedom, to which we are dedicated. It is true that we aspire to see political freedom for all the nations of the world, but it is also so very true that our greatest aspiration is to see living souls God-free in the light of their own mighty I Am God presence, so that the ascension in the light will become the living hope of all men, and although some may fall short of it, they shall find by reason of their struggles, which ceased in the glorious overcoming of their mighty I Am presence over the human, that although they might have failed in one embodiment to make their ascension, the great karmic board, out of its own great heart of mercy, extended to them in the next embodiment the absolute dominion and scepter of authority by reason of their previous invocation and the fulfillment of their fond hopes to join the ranks of the ascended masters and obtain their own precious freedom. May I extend to you then tonight my own hands of eternal felicity in the cause so holy. May I extend to you from out the great central sun the radiance of my presence, and may I place the invisible yet powerful cloak of violet flame upon your shoulders, that you may know its protection and glory until there is fulfilled in you that wondrous God design which is our hope. Ladies and gentlemen, children of God's wonderful light, with what words could I admonish you of the great need of mankind, of the great need for understanding, of the great need for felicity and goodwill? I say to you, look upon these floral symbols here, these yellow roses, as though they were living flames of cosmic illumination. Recognize that in the great cosmic flame of illumination blazing so brightly in South America from the god and goddess Meru, there is a wondrous enfolding radiance which all the three Americas shall one day know, and the hour is being hastened by each erg of energy which you contribute to the cause so pure. May I bow to the light within your heart, and may I enfold you now and always in my flame of freedom. I thank you, I bless you, and I bid you good evening.